welcome to Your Health in Your Hands. I'm Dr. David Ajibade, and I'm with me here is a very special guest, Professor Mayowa Owolabi. Actually, we've called him Prof since our first day in medical school. We're going to be talking about intelligence and academic performance, but not just academic performance in life. All the factors that affect it, everything from your genes to the environment, whether it's social environment, physical environment, your nutrition, to sleep, to other lifestyle habits that people tend to take for granted, but actually play a huge role on life and how things turn out in the long run. So, Prof, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be your guest.
Yes, indeed. We've known each other. Absolutely. Well, we're really privileged to have you on. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about intelligence. You're a professor. We've called you Prof since you were 16, 17 in medical school. You were among the youngest in our class. Let's talk about your thoughts when it comes to intelligence. What influences intelligence? You have a son that is following your footsteps, so that we know genes are effective. I'm going to hand it over to you. Tell us where to start from. What are your thoughts where this is concerned?
Okay, thank you very much. I will try to start by talking about intelligence. What does it really mean to be intelligent?
Yeah.
You know, I think people are intelligent to the extent they are able to formulate and achieve their goals, which help them to attain their purpose in life by understanding and capitalizing on their strengths, compensating for recognizing and compensating for correcting their weaknesses, and modifying their environments through a combination of essential skills. And these skills that usually mark people out are creative skills. You know, when people are able to do either what looks extraordinary or special or unthinkable, or are able to do the ordinary things in an extraordinary way, or in record time, you know, faster than usual. Those are the things we recognize as intelligence. Intelligence is very diverse. It could manifest in different ways. But one of the critical aspects of intelligence is actually the ability to be creative, analytical skills, practical skills, and so on and so forth. So that's what we know by intelligence. Of course, nowadays there is artificial intelligence, whereby we're able to make machine to convert data into information and activity that is purpose-driven and that is able to serve an objective. And that's why we say it's artificial intelligence. Intelligence can manifest itself in different ways, some of which you've alluded to. It could be logical, mathematical intelligence. Of course, you have Albert Einstein as reference, and it could even be spatial intelligence. And there, you have not only Albert Einstein as reference, you have other renowned physicists, you know, as reference when it comes to that. But again, you have musical intelligence, and there you have Mozart, who was a prodigy, you know, and then you have bodily or kinesthetic intelligence. You have the sportsmen, you know, footballers and all that. Linguistic intelligence, and you have the likes of Shakespeare. You know, then you have interpersonal intelligence, emotional, naturalistic, collaborative, creative, and of course, existential or transcendental intelligence. So intelligence can manifest itself in different ways depending on the goals and the purpose of that in particular individual, and people can distinguish themselves in any of these different spheres of human life through creativity and analytical skills, profound discoveries, statements, or contributions to advancement of human life and knowledge that has transformative and generational impact. And so we recognize this as intelligence and manifestation of intelligence. So, what are the factors that influence intelligence?
Yeah, well, sorry. Let me jump in a little bit, because I'm glad you tried to classify. You tried to classify, and obviously we don't have the time to really go into each of these in depth. But initially, when you were defining intelligence, my thought was this is merely street smarts. This is more like a definition of street smart. In other words, getting things done. It's not the same thing as academic intelligence. In other words, going to school, getting a first class or getting a distinction in a particular subject. In other words, you go to class, you hear what the teacher says, and you give the teacher exactly what he wants, how he wants his exam questions to be answered. So that is different from street smarts because you specifically said doing something extraordinary and finding solutions to the problem. And I think that applies more to the real world. So that is good. So we have a lot of things we're talking about here. We're talking about academic intelligence. We're talking about maybe business or streets or mechanical or getting things done, finding solutions. Or maybe that's like the entrepreneurial kind of person.
Yeah.
But a lot of what you've also said with the examples you've given, I would argue that they are more like genetic reasons. I mean, genetic capacity being the underlying factor, and then the environment. Of course, you mentioned Shakespeare, we mentioned Mozart, and a few other people. So I'm hoping we can get it down to like the man on the street, the mother of a child who's maybe getting into secondary school. And so you're thinking, okay, or the parents of a child, how can we, what do we need to do? This child may have an average intelligence, but what are the factors that we can do? We can provide for him or her that will help him or her excel in their classwork, in their school. Yeah, definitely some things that you must have put in place to say, okay, this is how we want to raise our kids so they can excel in academics and hopefully later in life.
Okay, so let me say that one of the very, very first things that we try to put in place is self-learning skills, ability for them to learn on their own. First of all, to value knowledge, value knowledge as, I mean, one of the most important things anybody should have is knowledge, is light, is transformative. It's, readers of today are leaders of tomorrow. So first of all, to value knowledge, value the ability to develop themselves in terms of acquiring knowledge-based skills. So, and being able to do that on their own as much as possible. So I think those are some of the cardinal things. And then giving them,
How did you do that? How did you foster that?
Well, initially by saying, okay, you have to make sure you read so and so many hours a day, but then later on, task driven, like you need to probably finish so and so chapters in your book in a day, set goals for yourself, be able to accomplish this, accomplish that. And by the way, let me just quickly mention that in his A levels class, he had A star, A star, A, and he entered the medical school with direct entry, and he was just 15, and he had A star, A star, A. And most of those, and then he also was teaching at the Education Advancement Center. Before, immediately after passing the A levels that way. So basically self-learning skills, how they can study on their own. Of course, provide the resources for that, books, whatever they need to ensure that they're able to, and then the ability to be disciplined, to be focused, in order to be able to achieve those objectives, an enabling environment. So they are not distracted, they're able to learn those skills.
Did you put any pressure? Did you or madam put any pressure on them to come first or second in their classes?
Well, I would say directly and indirectly. Well, I mean, the younger brother, was always leading in his class. Of course, he himself, like I said, entered medical school with straight A's. So there was they just know that they have to excel, and I really value that. So and that we really value that. So they strive to make sure that they excel. So I think that is very important. And they were actually grateful for that we insisted on them being the younger brother also got to Covenant University at the age of 14. And he said, what will he be doing at home? He can't wait to enter UI. He just has to go to, I mean, he's already, he has good grades. What's he going to be doing at home? So at 14, he was able to already enter the university. And well, because you're asking me to be personal and to give example.
Yes. Yes.
It was in primary, so not primary school, the first year in the uh in the secondary school. At some point, he said he was not going to go to school again, that he had finished. That was first term. I had finished everything they were teaching, and it was very boring. We had to take him to another school where he started in another class. I wasn't going to, but then he had to occupy himself with other things. And we thought, maybe because I think he was under challenged. So he had to occupy himself with games and all of that. Because the learning environment was becoming boring to him, and he felt what they were teaching him was no longer interesting. So, in fact, I thought he was no longer serious, because he was really very, very addicted to games, computer games, and all that. But I think he was under challenged.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
I would say environment plays a role.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Environment plays a role. Motivation plays a role. Uh, and I would say there are a lot of factors that affect our performance in terms of human intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the biology, the genetics, multiomics, neuroanatomical, cellular connectomics, and things like that. Some of which maybe over time one will be able to study and find out which genes are responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the educational environment, socio-cultural environment, like I said, look, this is family tradition is that you must excel. So they knew that they had to put in their best to ensure that happens. Economic factors, uh, physical and mental health are also very important.
Mm-hmm.
Environmental factors. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
factors can influence human intelligence and human performance. Role modeling, you know,
Yes.
uh, and like I said, value system is very important. Value system. And I think that was one of the things I emphasized, that look, knowledge is more important than any other thing, whether it is any material thing, money or whatever. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is more important. Knowledge should be valued. Knowledge should be sought. And knowledge is transformative, has incredible power. I mean, everything that we know, including the fact that we are talking now to each other virtually, is a product of discoveries and knowledge, and human intelligence.
For sure.
They recognize that, and they were able to strive. So I take them to, like, my younger son. Uh, we just say, "Oh, what do you want?" You just say, "Take me to a bookshop," and you just pick books, or take me to a library. So I made them to love knowledge and love uh, innovation. I exposed them to there was some encyclopedia which I inherited from my father. I would say those are really my main inheritance from my father. So I allowed them to go through some of those encyclopedia that
Mm-hmm.
showcased the lives of biographies of some of the great people, great scientists of old, many things that have transformed the human existence. And maybe so those are some of the things that stimulated them. And I believe
Mm-hmm.
similar things can stimulate other people. First of all, to value knowledge, to seek knowledge, and to know that with knowledge you can really do the unthinkable, almost the impossible, and you can
Mm-hmm.
transform the world. You can solve problems.
Now that you've gone through the system, you were a medical student, you did the exams, you helped a lot of us understand our work. You are a tutor to us in many cases. So thank you for that. But now you are now a dean, you're a professor. You're the youngest professor in UCH's history, right?
Yeah,
How about
part
all
of that.
that?
Yeah.
Amongst a lot of other
Yeah.
accomplishments.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the youngest ever,
Yeah.
and there you are. So clearly,
And
the
the
genetic
university actually just awarded me a DSC.
a
The university
DSC.
just awarded a DSC. That was
Wow,
just on November 17th, which was the Founders Day of the university, which happened actually to be
which was
my
your
birthday.
birthday. Your
And that's
50th,
the fifth,
your 50th
yeah,
birthday.
yeah, that's the fifth DSC ever to be awarded by the university since its creation in 75 years.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations, Mayowa.
Thank you.
We are,
Thank you so
that is amazing. Okay, so who are the other four
much.
people who you
Who
are
got
following
the
after?
DSC previously? Well, Professor Yegureje,
Guriji, I remember him.
Professor Akinshowumi,
Mm,
Professor
pharmacology.
Akinshowumi, yeah,
Yeah,
Dagogo Jack,
Dagogo Jack.
and then Jude or Ohiri, the psychiatrist. So those are the
Yes.
4 people who have had it previously.
Oh wow, what an illustrious. That is a huge. That is amazing, and I can see from this that 2 of them were in the brain health field. So 2 of them are psychiatrists. Professor Shulmi was pharmacology. Well, huge congratulations again. We are so proud of you. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so
Thank you
I
very
know
much.
absolutely. I know we have to wrap up soon, but so I brought that up to say you've now seen gone through the whole spectrum. What are the other things that you would say going forward for the medical student of the future to be more successful in the training? And you mentioned a few things, but let's hone in on those things for now. What are the things that you really would like to see? If you are God for a day, or if you are king for a day, you were to wave your magic wand, your scepter, and say, "This is how it should be going forward." What are the top things you would say?
Thank you very much. Well, I think there are 2 major sets of skills that medical students should learn. I know there's knowledge explosion, no doubt about it.
Yes.
Like I was telling someone recently, uh, because of knowledge explosion, I learned that the Hutchinson's methods, the first set of Hutchinson's methods, that we use for clinical skills, is just only about a third the size of the Hutchinson's right now. Same thing with the anatomy won't change that much because the human body is more or less the same. Evolution is very, very slow. It takes generations for new muscles or new organs to emerge, and some others to become vestigial.
Yeah.
But biochemistry, what we know from biochemistry, what we know from physiology keeps changing, keeps multiplying. So
Mm.
there is knowledge explosion, no doubt about it. And medical students are required or expected to absorb a lot of this. So I was saying there are 2 sets of skills that medical students should acquire. Eventually, they are going to, because it's so broad, you cannot master all of it. I mean, it's
Right.
impossible, to master every part of it. They're going to
Right.
specialize one day. Even when they are a generalist, like family physician, is still a specialty in a sense. So they're going to specialize one day. So that may already start coloring the kind of things they pay attention to when they are studying. But alongside, they shouldn't forget, which is the other set of skills. They shouldn't forget that they need a very strong foundation on the other areas. Because at the end of the day, they must manage the whole person, not just the
Mm.
kidney if they are a nephrologist, not just the heart if they are a cardiologist, but the whole person. And when I say the whole person, in fact, I am extending that beyond biology to the entire human being. And you see that some of these are things that have been putting forward in neurorehabilitation, in the Lancet Commission, and many of the things I'm involved in, which is the spiritual part of human existence, the
Mm.
soul, the spirit. So these are
Yes.
some of the things. I know it's difficult to define, it's difficult to reach to, but these are part of, and in terms of intelligence, we call that transcendental intelligence.
Okay.
So it's part of the things that is important. How we perceive ourselves in the context of the universe. How, how we perceive in the context of the purpose of life purpose and the context of the universe. This is very, very important because at every point in time you are encountering a patient, they look up to you to provide solutions to their problems, all of
Mm.
their problems, as much as you can. So you need to understand that context apart from that specialty aspect. So
Mm.
they need that broad base apart from the specialty aspect. So that skill. But I think the most important skill they should get, looking at it from another perspective, is self-learning skills. Very important. Ability to learn on their own, and ability also to contribute to knowledge creation, not just consuming knowledge. Ability to contribute to knowledge creation. And I can start by just asking questions, and there's a lot of questions that are yet to be answered. A lot of things that we can dream about and that may become realities
Mm.
in future. For instance, many people look up to us and think we should be able to cure hypertension. But we are not able to cure hypertension. We know as doctors that we are not curing hypertension. But if you ask the lay people, they think that when they see you, you should be able to cure their hypertension. That's just an example. So these are some of the things we can, of course, with research and all of that, we can try to solve. But if we have that kind of mindset as medical students, if people have that kind of mindset, because that's the time they are exposed to all categories of knowledge, you know, in all fields. If they have that kind of mindset, they can think, they can come up with ideas or new questions, which over time people can explore and that can yield the answers. So those are the things I would tell, you know, intending medical students, prospective medical students, or even current medical students, that knowledge is it, knowledge is transformative, and they are in a profession that basically they are, you know, almost like playing the role of God. In fact, today I gave a lecture on synthetic biology. With what is going on now and what is going to continue even in the future with stem cell therapy, with genomics, with transomics, with artificial intelligence, with so many things that we now know, we are able to make organs, you know, we're able to almost play God. We're able to modify biology. We can make yeast cells to produce insulin or human milk. We can make yeast cells to produce cow milk. We can produce genetically modified mosquitoes. We can produce crops that within the fruits, they have drugs. They have vitamins. So we can do almost the unthinkable, almost the unimaginable. And I was at some point even thinking, you know, that of course we know that we are not the creator, we were created. But it looks like to some extent we are also able to create. And then I was beginning to look at this and say that perhaps we are made in the image and likeness of God. So if God is able to create, maybe God has also empowered us to create, but we have to do that responsibly. So we are almost able to do the unthinkable. And I jokingly mentioned that 200 years ago, if somebody said he was going to fly to America, they would tell him that he will need witchcraft to be able to do that. You know, but now you need only an aircraft to do that. So a lot is happening.
Yeah,
a lot is happening. You can almost achieve the unimaginable. And we're talking about artificial intelligence, but we can also improve our collective human intelligence by developing ourselves through innovation, through knowledge, by placing value on knowledge. And in fact, the countries that are placing a lot of value on research and development, on knowledge, they are doing so well. The Economist has an article, in fact, I showed that slide today, of how China has overtaken so many countries because of their humongous investment in research and development. And they are performing almost miracles in construction, in engineering, in so many things. So we need to invest in knowledge, both personally, individually, and collectively, and that is the future. And that is even the now, because knowledge is power, knowledge is transformative. With knowledge, you can do almost the impossible. And knowledge and using knowledge is what intelligence is all about. It's ability to know, perhaps what others don't know, an ability to use that knowledge in ways others don't know, an ability to use that knowledge to solve problems that has monumental impact across very wide space and time. And that is what intelligence is all about.
I love it. Absolutely love it. That's really good. Keep doing us proud. Congratulations once again for DSC, one of only 5. That is absolutely amazing in the history of UI.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, we are going to put that on the platform. So, all right. Thank you again. God bless. Thank you, folks, for listening to us on the show today. You can always watch us on our platforms. You can go to our website, brainandbodyfoundation.org. Remember, you are in charge of your own body and your own mind. Be sure to take responsibility and ensure that you learn what it takes to take charge and to give your body what it takes to be healthy and live a healthy, long life. God bless. Take care. Bye.